in the United States, so we gave them a pretty substantial period of time.
I think.
I think it would really be a wonderful marriage. It would really be a wonderful marriage to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year.
Of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months. It's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
But never say never. Never say never. It was meant to be. But, you know, I do feel it's much better for Canada.
Well, Mark Carney, the brand new Prime Minister of Canada, was with Donald Trump at the Oval Office, and it went exactly as you would expect, as in he had a bit of a trouble getting his points across. As you saw in that intro that we're going to analyze the moments in which Trump literally says, well, we're going to move forward with Canada as the 51st state. I seriously thought that he was going to drop that joke, but he literally said that to Mark Carney's face, and you have to see his reaction. Not only that, but the tariffs that are not going to weigh, and a couple more moments that we're going to analyze from a body language perspective. Before we begin, remember to download my free 100 body language tips in the description of this video. And let's get down to it. And we start with the handshake. The handshake was pretty standard. It was very quick. As a couple touches on each other's arms. You know, that is a regular handshake. And Carney, you say that Carney, from the get-go, that Trump was influencing Carney's body language because Trump does his usual, you know, the little gesture with the hand. It's part of his classic dance. And Carney tries to do the same. It's like, you know, he's like following the lead. You know from the get-go that it was it was not fair for Carney, but he went for it. Trump sitting in his usual stance. I think this doesn't require much description. It's the way that Trump sits all the time, and Carney was pretty much the same posture. Only that he had his fingers crossed, and the way that he was dressing was quite, let's say, unremarkable. There was no bright colors, no nothing. I think it was a bit, I don't know, non-flashy. I think that's what is the opposite of flashy. That would be how Mark Carney was wearing. But let's begin with the first clip. We're going to watch the clips, and then we are going to analyze them. This is the first one.
Mark, would you like to say a few words?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm on the edge of my seat, actually, for the big announcement. But thank you for your hospitality and above all, for your leadership.
It was the first clip. This was after Trump had made a longish introduction of Mark Carney, praising him for winning the elections and, becoming the prime minister. That following, thinking that Canada is going to be all right under his command. It was a nice introduction, and you could tell that at least by this point, Carney was okay-ish. But then we move on to this.
Very nice statement.
Okay, the handshake again. This is a staple handshake from Trump, in which he usually, when he is at the Oval Office, he does this all the time. This is literally all the time with anybody who is at the Oval Office. He lowers his gaze, offers his hand, palm up, non-threatening, but he does that always first. Of course, I guess that since he is the host, he has to offer the hand first. And so Carney went for the handshake, and it was a nice handshake. I think that was so far so good. So the questions began. I thought by this point, that this was going to be boring. No, I was so wrong, because this is where we started the actual interactions.
What's the top concession you want out of Canada? The top concession you want out of Canada?
Concession?
Yes.
Friendship.
But that's not a concession.
No, we're going to be friends with Canada. Regardless of anything, we're going to be friends with Canada.
This is one of the signals that Trump was sending. Okay, we want to be friends with Canada. We want to get along. We want to do things together. That was one of the first messages that he sent, and he was very clear about that. It's like, you know, that there were these loaded questions as in which concessions you want from Canada. No, we don't want concessions. We just want friendship. If friendship is a concession, which is not, it's just friendship. Then the heat began to ramp up with clips like this.
President, you have said that Canada should become the 51st state.
51st state. You have said that Canada should become the 51st state of the United States. So that's what we are here for. That's what we are here for. And what did Trump reply?
When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic
Wait for
person.
Carney's reaction.
But when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be. But, you know, I do feel it's much better for Canada.
So Trump was doubling down on the fact that, yes, he did say that Canada should become the 51st state of the United States. And upon asked in the Oval Office with Mark Carney by his side, he said it would be beautiful because that line should be blurred, that line should not exist. The two countries should become one. Canada should become part of the United States, and Carney was visibly, he was not comfortable with that. But he was letting Trump just speak his mind. He had this very uncomfortable, that single shoulder shrug, but Carney was not speaking at that moment. So what does that mean? It means that he was not comfortable with what Trump was saying, and you can see that he also was pressing his lips, which is a bit of frustration, as in, okay, I thought that you meant that was a joke. I can't believe that you're actually saying that, yeah, Canada should become the 51st state. And yeah, he began playing with his mouth as well because, not amused with Trump's shenanigans. But then I think here comes Carney's answer.
But we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants.
Oh no, this is something that happened so many times during this encounter in which Carney really wanted to say something and he gestured as in, okay, can I say something? But no, it's he never really could cut into the conversation, and it happened so many times that was a bit embarrassing to watch.
But we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But
yeah, he actually had a problem. You could see it in his body language. What happened after this? There was a couple of things before Carney replied.
I think it would really be a wonderful marriage. It would really be a wonderful marriage.
Notice that it will really be a wonderful marriage, Trump says. And meanwhile, Carney's trying to, I want to say something about this. And finally, Trump gives him the opportunity to talk. And what does he say? He makes, let's say, a nice point.
Because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace, that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
A couple of things that happened here. Okay, there was a good analogy, and it was a good, nice way of connecting with the person that you're talking to. Okay, you have been in real estate for your whole life, and you know that some places are not for sale, like the White House, like Buckingham Palace, like Canada, and maybe Trump is saying, I didn't say that we are going to buy Canada. You're going to do this by yourself, on your own. But again, when he wants to make the point, Carney is going to make the point that is never going to be for sale ever. He lowers his voice in a way that is it's like
of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months. It's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
he lowers his voice. It's not for sale. It's not going to be for sale ever. It was odd. Maybe he was embarrassed of having to say that. That's a possibility. And then we continue with him.
But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. We have done that in the past. And part of that, as the president just said, is with respect to our own security.
But never say never. Never say never.
There was another part that was just after Carney had said a couple things. Trump made sure to end the remark, like the signature, with a never say never, and in a much clearer voice than Carney was speaking. And I'm pretty sure that both of them. I don't know if that it's that there was a boom mic. They're not wearing mics, so that must have been a boom mic. The right thing to do this thing is that they have this fluffy mics on top of them, and when one of them is speaking, then the fluffy mic should be pointed at them, at that person, and then when the other is speaking, then the boom mic is speaking to the other. But I noticed that there was a huge difference in voice tone between them. Notice Carney and notice Trump again.
Is with respect to our own security.
But never say never. Never say never.
Again, there was a much stronger voice from Trump. He had a much stronger presence. I think that Carney was kind of embarrassed of the 51st state thing. But, well, you know how it is. When you are with Trump, it's open season. You see that they tried to tone it down. It's like, I don't know what Carney says right after that. With the never say never, he is I don't know, any lip readers. I am not a lip reader by any means, but if you know what he said, let me share with us in the comments, because I don't know what he said. I have no idea. Everybody was talking at the same time. So we move on to the next clip. The next clip is this one.
What Mr. Carney just said, that Canada is not for sale. Does this make the discussion a little more difficult to start on?
No, not at all. No, not at all. No, time will tell. It's only time.
It's only a matter of time.
But I say, never say never.
And Carney, never say never. I say never say never. And Carney says, no, don't stop saying that. It's not going to happen. But Carney, instead of, owning it or, taking this as a joke, which, by the way, is what Pierre Poilievre should have done during his campaign, but that is in the past now. He lowers his head in a way that he looks embarrassed of it. And maybe you are watching this and, oh, Trump is making Carney feel embarrassed. No, you have to play the game. You have to know that if you are in those settings, all the cameras, all the world is going to be watching you. And you have to, if Trump plays a game, you have to learn to play the game and play it better than him. But who's ready to play the game better than Trump? That is the thing. They are in the Oval Office, and he knows how to manage himself there.
Never say never. I've had many, many things that were not doable, and they ended up being doable, and only doable in a very friendly way.
Notice that Carney did the non-existent lint. There's absolutely no lint in his leg, and he brushes it off because he's uncomfortable. You see, there's nothing on his leg, and he brushed off a lint because he was nervous. Again, next clip. Where's my next clip? This is the next clip. They were talking about this treaty between Mexico, the United States, and Canada. What are they talking about?
The USMCA is great for all countries. It's good for all countries. We do have a negotiation coming up over the next year or so to adjust it or terminate it.
Again, Carney tries to intervene, tries to say something, and no, it's not your turn to talk.
Mr. President,
I'll say a word on USMCA if I may, Mr. President.
Finally, he gets the opportunity to talk because Trump tells the reporters, "Okay, let's allow Carney to say something."
To do is just fill them out, but they're able to build them in the United States, so we gave them a pretty substantial period of time.
I think.
Once again, how many times have this been? Like 3 or 4 times? I lost count. He has tried to say something and he waits too long. He keeps his head low and he knows. So this is a matter, you need to know that in these situations, you think of like a window. And especially you have to project your voice. You have to literally interrupt your host, maybe interrupt is not interrupting him, but knowing that as soon as he ends a sentence, you have to enter right there, because Trump is not going to let you talk like that easy. And the reporters are not going to let you talk that easy. That's something that you just have to get yourself in there, like by any means possible, because the other thing that's going to happen is that you're going to look weak like this, and you don't want to look weak in the worldwide stage, right?
So we gave them a pretty substantial period of time. I think.
So there's a pacifying gestures. There's trying to talk, and you cannot talk. It was. I'm going to say the word. It was pathetic. It was a lot of secondhand embarrassment, because I think that he thought it was going to be It was a friendly exchange. I think that Trump was very friendly with him, but I don't know what took him so long to speak, to being able to raise his voice and speak at the same voice tone that Trump.
In Canada, is there anything he could say to you in the course of your meetings with him today that would get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
No,
Why not?
just the way it is.
And this is the kind of things that Trump does. He's asked if there's anything that they can talk about or anything that Carney can say during these conversations at the White House that will make him lift the tariffs. And he says flat out,
Tariffs on Canada.
No,
Why not?
no. And why not?
just the way it is.
It's just the way it is. And Trump just shrugs it off. It's just the way it is. He has, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this in a good vibes way. He has no shame for that. Why would I be ashamed for a decision that I already made? There's nothing that we can talk here that's going to change that. But afterwards, he says that, well, that's why we are talking for. I'm talking for having better negotiations and maybe arrange something. But as for the tariffs, today, that's not going to change.
Just the way it is.
And yeah, this is the moment that we say, hey, I'm here. He's gesturing. Hey, guys. He even gestures, trying to stop Trump, but Trump is not speaking at that moment. Why would you gesture that way? But yeah, Carney was a bit desperate for, can I talk, please? Can I speak? Hey, I want to speak, please. Oh my God, let me speak. I'm here for a reason, but at long last, you know that, wait a second, I didn't notice this. His hands were in a really convoluted posture. Look at that pinky finger. He was about to break his pinky finger. I didn't notice this. I'm just noticing this now, doing the analysis. And he afterwards turns to his right and says something like yeah to somebody on his team. But somebody asked me on X, what did that somebody on his team say? But there was too much noise from the reporters. So we move on. Next clip.
Canadians don't want it.
Again. And this is like the 6th or 7th time that he gestures, I want to speak.
Would you respect that?
Sure, I would. But this is not necessarily a one-day deal. This is over a period of time they have to make that decision. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if I'm
Yeah, go ahead, finally. I think it has been like 10 times. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to raise the volume one bit, because for some reason, right now you notice that Trump's voice was a bit low. I think the guy with the boom mic was not doing his job correctly.
if respectfully, Canadians' view on this is not going to change on the 51st.
It's not going to change. and you see Trump's face as in, are you sure about that? I should insert the John Cena meme in here. As in, oh man, you don't sound very convinced of that. So, all right, this game is called the one with the most confidence wins. That's what this game is called.
We have a tremendous deficit with Canada. In other words, they have a surplus with us. And there's no reason for us to be subsidizing Canada.
Notice that Trump is saying things about, well, Canada is benefiting from the United States. There is a surplus on the side of Canada. And, well, yes, Carney does the single shoulder shrug again, like he is uncomfortable. Oh, why are you saying this? I thought this was going to be a friendly conversation. Still, it's a friendly conversation, but Trump is going to say the truth, or tell the truth of what's going on.
Subsidizing Canada. Canada's a place that will have to be able to take care of itself economically. But no, I mean, it's hard to justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year.
Yes, he did that again. Okay, I could say something about that, but oh, you know what? Doesn't matter. Never mind. This was horrific.
And it's hard for the American taxpayer.
He just gave up. All right, I will just let Trump talk. Maybe at some point, Trump will let me talk about
to
this.
say, gee whiz,
Another non-existent lint. There
say,
he
gee
goes.
whiz, we love doing that. Thank you very much. We're going to have a very substantive vote. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And that was basically the end of the exchange. I'm not going to extend this any longer because that was pretty much it. The fact that Trump told him to his face that the first estate thing is a thing that is that's going to happen eventually. Never say never. He said that twice, and you notice that Carney's reaction was that he was not okay with that. The tariffs, no matter what happens, no. Why not? Because that's the way it is. That's the way that you know that if you are going to have a conversation with Trump in the Oval Office, you have to, well, you gotta be prepared. And Carney was obviously not prepared for this, not in the way of the dynamics. He thought that he could just be there and he was going to be heard. Not only when he said, and I think this is the worst part, when he said that Canada was not going to be the 51st state, well, he lowered his voice and basically nobody heard him. But again, I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. Remember to download my free 100 body language tips in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Much love and bliss.